Alright, so my name is Sophia Cooper. I'm a senior here at Frostburg. A little bit about my backstory is the first time I tried to commit suicide, I was 9 years old. I remember drinking like a bottle of cough syrup. I remember feeling very, very alone and like feeling like I didn't matter to anybody. And so a lot of the things that I struggled with was like bullying. Like I sincerely got jumped every day on the way to class, on the way to school, got jumped every day on the way home. It got so bad that my mother had to come to the bus stop to pick me up every day because I literally came home she had to start paying me to go to school. And I remember wondering, like, a lot of the taunts that I heard were about me being fat or about me not having the right clothes. I couldn't afford Jordans. My mom couldn't afford to keep me in the freshest anything. Material things have never been something that was emphasized in my house. It was never about wearing what was fashionable. So that was something that I really struggled with. And that caused me to really struggle with my self-esteem. And so when I was probably about middle school age, I was put into a school for kids with learning disabilities and behavior problems. I don't necessarily feel like I have a learning disability or a behavior problem. I'm just a little sensitive. But I didn't feel like I necessarily belonged there. I didn't feel like I fit in with the kids there at all. As much as I guess they were expecting me to or anything like that. But while I was there, the bullying didn't get any better. Like, getting into a new school did not change anything. It made it worse because the kids that I'm dealing with now have their own struggles in life. And so it felt like there was some sort of vendetta. I mean, I know there probably wasn't, kids are cruel, but it felt like they were just out to get me. And then I would ride home because my school was a specialized school. We would have these incredibly long bus ride homes, and because they would pick up people all over the county, and the bus ride would seem like forever, just forever. Of like, I got into a fight one day with a girl because she was talking about R. Kelly, and I said something, and she wasn't talking to me, and this girl, because I said something about R. Kelly and she wasn't talking to me, she immediately stood up and punched me in my face. I never hit this girl back because, to my knowledge at the time, she was pregnant and I felt like that wasn't right. My niceness gets me in trouble a lot. But I didn't hit her back. But I still was suspended from the bus. I still received the same consequence that this girl did, even though I never put my hands on her. And I would go home, and it was like my stepfather and I didn't get along at the time, and so I didn't get any positive reinforcement from him. My mother was either not home or she never stood up for me. You know, my stepfather would be like, you know, it's her or me. My mother would never stand up and outright say, okay, her. And I always waited for it, but it never came. But I just felt like I was alone because the people who I felt were supposed to love me the most and the people who I felt were supposed to protect me, maybe I was naive, maybe I expected too much, but they just were not there the way I needed them to be. Whether they meant that way or whether that was an accident, the way I needed them to be there, they weren't there. And so a lot of the times what drove me to suicide, because I did attempt it multiple times, was the fact that I felt invisible. And on top of all of these things, back to me not having any support, like I would have conversations with my dad, and my dad would tell me, like, you know, people just don't like you. You're weird, you know. And he would give me stuff about, you know, being big. He told me that I had the body of a 50-year-old when I was 16. And so that kind of thing weighed heavily on me to the point where I felt like everyone would be happier if I just simply was not here. If I positively did not exist, then everyone would have the things that they want out of life, and I would not be in the way anymore. And I think that was what really, in the midst of my depression and me being sad and everything, was what was the hardest to combat. And then I reached a point where I started to come out of it. I received a lot. I got into a lot of ridicule from friends, family, various people about my weight. I've recently lost like 150 pounds, but before this, I was almost 400 pounds, pushing for close to 400 pounds. And a lot of my confidence was wrapped up in what people thought of me, what people told me about myself, what people gave to me. And I let a lot of people miscalculate my worth. And that is not something I do anymore. And I got to the point where I was like, I can choose to do exactly what everyone is telling me to do, and I can hate myself because they tell me that I should, but I refuse to do so. So, you know, I was speaking with a friend earlier today, in fact, and we were talking about how when I was heavier, I would walk with music all the way up, so that, because what initially started me doing that is people stared at me. Everywhere I went, people stared at me, and the music distracts me from the fact that people were staring at me. So I made a decision. I do not get up and curl my hair and put on my makeup and pick out my outfit not to be looked at. If you want to look, by all means, do your thing. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm a beautiful person, and I have every right to be who I am. And I am not going to hate myself simply because people think that I should, whether I am 400 pounds or whether I'm 260. I refuse to be anybody but myself. I feel like it is my right to leave my mark on the world, and I can't do that if I'm trying to fit into someone else's box. I'm here to fulfill God's purpose for me. So I stopped trying to commit suicide because I was put here for a reason, and I sincerely believe that I have a purpose, and that I have so many things that I'm passionate about, so many people that I'm passionate about, so many things I want to accomplish, and so many people who are just not worth it. And I just realized that people really only have the power that you give them. If you say their opinion don't mean anything, then it doesn't. If they're not about to progress my life in any fashion, then why is their opinion relevant? I personally, I've had a lot of problems. I make it a point to try and be very honest with myself and to not compare myself to other people, because I really feel like if everybody can enter the prettiest girl in the world contest, but no one's ever going to win, because everyone's idea of what's beautiful is different. And I'm somebody's beautiful. I may not be everybody's, and that's okay, but I'm somebody's, and that's fine with me. And if I'm nobody's, I'm still my own. So I don't need anybody to tell me if I'm cute, if I'm beautiful, if what I'm doing with my life and with my time is worthwhile. Because at the end of the day, like I said, the most important thing to me is God's purpose for me, and I can't pursue that if I am trying to live in someone else's spot.